Hi.
Awesome. Hey, Gabrielle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's Todd, right?
Todd, yeah, the Toddcast here in Vancouver, Canada.
Todd.
Yeah.
How's the weather?
Well, the weather here is, Vancouver's not bad in the wintertime. Every once in a while we'll get a cold snap and get some snow, but
But like cold as in like negative 20 cold because right now it's only 20.
no, like not super cold. I lived up north BC in Kitimat and Terrace, and we're talking like minus 40 degrees
Tundra.
Celsius, snow banks of like 10, 12 feet, like insane shit.
Oh,
Nothing at all like that.
insane.
Yeah, nothing at
Like
all like
this
that.
is child's play. Bunny
Where
Hills.
yeah, where are you where are you jumping on this Zoom from?
I'm in LA.
Okay.
Not
Mm.
cold like that.
Not cold at all, really, like ever there. Awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time here and joining us.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys said yes to having me
Well, of
on.
course, yeah. I mean, when we get, pitched stuff like this, like there's no chance I'm saying no to it. And you've got a lot of stuff going on, of course, in your world right now.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful break before a lot of momentum just started exploding with the things we'll probably end up talking about. So
Yeah.
it's nice to catch everyone up. What's been going on with
A-
me?
And it's also not only catching people up, but also kind of almost catching people off guard with one of the key reasons you're doing this today with us. How what was the I guess the what was the start of making a Christmas song? Who got you down that road, and was just something you're like, as a performer, as an entertainer, like I'm going to do this, or how did it happen?
Yeah, I definitely have never had this deep down passion to join the music industry as much as I love to sing.
Yeah,
Musical theater was definitely one of my first passions in that way. Um, However, it was really fun to make a soundtrack with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, the TV show that I did for a while in Los Angeles.
of course. That's what most
And
people will know you for.
yeah, and I made some friends here in Los Angeles during our first years here because my husband and I were in New York for 10 years before Crazy Ex-Girlfriend brought us out here.
Mm,
And this friend, Chen Sing Tao is his name. He is a brilliant mathematician and does poetry on the side. And I heard some of his Christmas poems and I just thought they were so beautiful and it was so impressive that he loved doing that, you know. And another friend of both of ours, Charlie Malcolm, is a music writer. So I just had this moment epiphany where I said, why don't us three get together and make some Christmas music?
that's amazing.
And that took about 3 years, Todd, to actually get it
Wow.
done with a lot of grace, of course, due to like the years that we've been going through and it was the right year to do it and we were able to get the first track down, which we hope is a realized album next year for the holiday season of 2023
Hmm.
because it took a minute to figure out Charlie's style with my style of singing and also, you know, manipulating the lyrics to make, I mean, the poem to make them lyrics. So actually doing it was quite a fun challenge once we caught momentum. And I sent Charlie maybe 15 variations of how other pop singers in my head would sing it, like
Oh,
Not Macy Reeves, a Macy Gray version, a Mandy Moore version, a Sarah Bareilles version, like all these different pop sounds. Because I
interesting.
try to
That's almost
muse
like what's the guy Jimmy Kimmel, where he gets like people to sing another style. That's a really
exactly. And
interesting way to approach something like that.
well, yeah, and we did a quintessential no-brainer musical theater version of Twinkle Twinkle that maybe I'll put it on my Patreon or something because the key was so high and I was belting so high and so hard. I was going for it, man, like Messiah, like and I remember listening to it and Charlie's like, "You sound great," and I was like, "I sound like I'm working my butt off. Like, who wants to work this hard for Christmas? Not me." And so I was
Yeah.
like, we got to take it down. Let's chill it out. And we found the song that is now what it is today through some workshopping. And it was so much fun to do that with Charlie.
So was it just a matter of like that was just such a really cool experience that you know what, let's make the because they're you're doing the full Christmas album next year.
Yeah, it's really good. Charlie Malcolm. I keep dropping his name because he wrote the music and lyrics, and I was his muse in that way. And we got to go over and just discover together. And again, like it took a few renditions of Twinkle Twinkle for us to figure out our song, our style as a team. So
Mm.
now I told Charlie, I was like, we got to start the next song in January because it took me forever to get this one done. But now we're off.
Yeah,
You know,
fair enough.
we've launched. So we've launched, we're in the air, and once the song was done, I was like, Charlie, we got to get it out there and let people know how beautiful it is because there's more to come.
Mhm. When you set a deadline like that, you know, everybody kind of plays to the deadline that they're set. So if you're like, well,
Exactly.
maybe I'll get a Christmas album done, you'll never get it done. But if you're like, by next year, that's a hard deadline. Like you have a year basically to make a Christmas album, which is crazy.
I have
It's,
three. So I have three. Yeah, three more poems from Chen, and then Charlie wants to make an original song.
oh,
And then
cool.
there's the Spanish lullaby that I love. That might be like a hidden track. That's a cover. That'll be a cover.
Okay, okay. And because you were coming on last night, I asked my wife, and I was actually zooming with her brother. I was like, what is the best like Christmas album? And they're like, oh, it's got to be Bing Crosby. Like, no, no, it's got to be Boney M. Who who do you think has the best Christmas album right now?
Right now, like most current.
Like everything.
Ooh,
Paul McCartney, of course, has the wonderful Christmas time. Like
yeah.
who has the best song and album? I guess.
Wow. What a question.
I know,
I
right?
mean, I
Impossible.
got to give it to Dolly Parton,
Oh
okay?
yes, good call.
I'm from Texas and I don't really love country music.
Oxymoron.
And I laugh because Dolly does it right. Every song that comes out of that lady's beautiful heart,
Yeah,
it just it's magic, you know? And I think her multiple holiday albums, like you just know what you're going to be able to sit down and enjoy.
yeah,
And she has a latest one. And I have to also say, I'll counter that or challenge it with Gloria Stefan's latest Christmas album. She has a cover of um, Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time, the Paul McCartney song, I believe.
yeah,
And that song right now, it's new. The cover that she did, it's absolutely gorgeous. It has Cuban style to it. It has a beautiful orchestra. It has some background conversations from her family. And Gloria also does it right in her own way. And those two women I look up to
yeah.
immensely in the music industry.
And so, how would you stack up? You know, attempting not attempting, but making a Christmas album, making a Christmas song called "Twinkle Twinkle." How does this stack up to like you know off the top? We're saying that everybody, the majority of people that are probably listening and watching this podcast would know you from Crazy Ex Girlfriend.
Hmm.
So, how does that stack up against acting?
What do you mean by stacking up?
Like, how does it feel? How like what is there a difference between the two?
Oh,
You know what I
oh
mean? Like
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
recording a record and recording, you know, essentially recording your acting, getting it on film and
I I I think it's with the I think it's wonderful to make I think it's wonderful to create things with your friends. I think it's also wonderful to hire your friends,
yeah.
right? It's bringing friends with you to the table with, there isn't a limited amount of chairs at this table that I can provide for people that want to do this as well.
Mhm.
So Charlie, the music and lyricist that wrote the music and lyrics to Twinkle Twinkle, he's just so stinking talented. I wanted to lift him up. Chen Xiang Tao's poems, it's a personal project for him. It's a personal passion. He doesn't want to be a poet. He's a wonderful mathematician, and they just affected me so much. I wanted to honor that talent. So what stacks up against it, it was a project that I produced, I was in control of, especially like talking you through like the style evolution of it and the instincts that I can trust Charlie with his creativity and he tell me how he wants me to sing it. I love giving people those opportunities, not be the end all be all decision dictation, dictator of creativity. I just feel like when you
Yeah.
can collaborate with your friends, take take the chance, and it can be a flop or it can be fabulous. And I just know Charlie is a so talented and is going to take off, and the fact that I get to kind of claim I knew him when is a badge I'm pocketing right now.
Right, right.
And
And so
we
was
had
it
so much
what you
fun.
was like was it what you expected or no?
Expecting to work with Charlie Malcolm, yes. Charlie Malcolm is sass and sincerity and seriousness all at the same time. Um, he was having a wonderful time putting his idea of what harmonies are and his vocal capabilities on someone else's voice. And I think he didn't expect that I could change so much. I was like, Charlie, I'm a Broadway broad. Like you can
Yeah.
give me a note and I can change it. I'm not
Absolutely.
in any way in that egotistical standpoint of like it needs to be this way. I have no idea. I'm not a pop singer until this launches into outer space for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
So let's do it together. And so I was very surprised on how it turned out, as well as being a part of, like I said, like the beautiful brains of my friends, like, Chen's poems and then Charlie's music capabilities, and see the full thing, that I got so excited once it was done. Like literally, Todd, like mid-November we finished it and I was like, we got to get a music video tomorrow. And then I got to get my publicist updated, like, hey, people need to hear about this song,
Yeah.
because it is, not only is it beautiful, not only are we proud of it, but it's just a really cool new original Christmas piece that can fold into your new Spotify list.
Yeah, that's cool. And I've always talked to friends about that. Like it's weird that especially when your favorite bands don't make Christmas songs, like it's just so how few bands or artists actually make Christmas songs, right? There's not many. Like when it
Yes.
really boils down to it, there's just not many.
Yes, and Christmas covers. Christmas covers is its own game, I
Yeah.
think, to make it your version of something that people already love. And could I have done that? Sure. But I
Yeah.
just know the level of the team that I was working with, that we could totally nail an original piece. I'm
Right.
very proud of that.
I love that you keep bringing in the team. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
so
Everyone's
what
like, "Did you write it?" I was like, "Absolutely not." I'm so proud.
Yeah, no, of course, no, and everybody was involved. So what's the music like in the Ruiz house then, as a kid growing up? Like, what are
Oh,
you hearing and stuff?
oh my gosh, so much Shania Twain, Harry
Okay.
Connick Jr. I'll just basically give you what was in my mom's rotating CD
Y-
thing in the trunk of
Yeah,
her
yeah,
Cadillac.
yeah. The 10 disc
Um,
changer or whatever. Yeah.
yes, Sting, Phil Collins,
Mm,
Shania Twain, I said that. Oh, Patty. She's like that Christian famous singer, Patty.
uh,
Looking up from the bottom, it seems like a long way to go. Like I know the songs. The mountain's dark and steep. Hold on, I
uh,
gotta look it up for a second.
yeah.
Patty
I
Christian.
love that we're
Yes.
able to do that too, right? Like, yeah, well, look it up. Who is it?
Sandy Patty.
Sandy Patty. Okay.
Do you know
Okay.
who that is, Todd?
No, like when you sang, and I'm like that one of
Do you know
if you
Sandy
have me as a
Patty?
friend, there's
Oh,
nobody else you'd think like, oh, I need to call this person because of music trivia. Like I didn't even recognize it. Didn't even recognize it.
Sandy Patty is an American Christian gospel pop singer, and we like made dents in that CD. Like that's how
Yeah.
much we listened to it. And then personally, once I found my own voice and my own capabilities of purchasing my own
Yeah.
CDs, it was definitely NSYNC and TLC. TLC was Crazy Sexy Cool was my first album I purchased on my own dime.
Okay. And how was the first concert for you?
It was NSYNC. It was
That's
a
awesome.
surprise from my mom, and my best friend came with me. I think we were in high school.
Yeah.
And we had like nosebleed section. So fun to hear their songs. They only had like one original album out, so they were doing a lot of covers actually. They had like NSYNC does the 50s, the
Oh,
60s, the 70s. Like they had to
okay.
like fill some time, you know?
Right.
And I was already kind of like keen on the performative structure, like, huh, they don't have a lot of songs. And then my favorite memory is when Justin Timberlake is like, I can't get through this song without someone helping me sing it along. And the audience goes nuts, you know?
Yeah.
And
So good.
just so you guys know, this story doesn't end up with me on stage. What
Yeah.
happens
Oh
is
my God. Imagine that.
I'm in the nosebleed and he's like, yeah. And he's like, who can help me come up here and help me finish the song? And there's girls behind me, like in section QRZ triples,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
being crying and saying, Justin, pick me. And I was like, oh, the delusion of this all is crazy. Now I've met Justin. He
Oh,
came
that's so good.
backstage. He came backstage. Him and Jessica came backstage during In the Heights, and I was like, "Wow, I'm such a fan!" Like I kind of geeked out just a little bit,
Sure. Hard not
but
to.
it's hard not to. And they're both so wonderful and such nice
Yeah.
people. But that was one of my favorite concert memories. Like the delusion of the fandom is such a level of a fantasy. And so
Right.
be it. These,
Right.
people get dressed up for Elton John and Lady Gaga, and like it's
Sure.
so much fun to like just go and be in the magic, you know?
Yeah. Go and actually like make a night of it. So cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So you
totally.
mentioned the Heights. Of course, that's where you got your start. You got your start on Broadway for crying out loud. Like what? What?
Thank
That's
you.
nuts.
Yes, Broadway is very hard.
I bet. And so if you can give us a Coles notes of like how the fuck do you even get to that point? Like what? Because
Wow.
like let's be honest and let me pump your tires for a sec.
Okay.
Because most people, even if they want to get there, they're trained to get there. They don't get there.
Mhm.
So how did you get there?
Facts.
Right. Facts.
um how did I get there? I auditioned. I went to a great college in Oklahoma City, OCU, Oklahoma City University, that was really, really good for me because I auditioned for NYU and the Juilliard School, and I didn't get into those schools. It was only OCU, and I'm so glad I was there because I loved that our artistic director of the school, she just retired, Joe Rowan. Um, she always would say, "What we do is show business, not show begging," and that was like life changing
Oh,
and game changing because you go to New York to audition, but you have to afford to live there. It isn't all fun and games,
mm,
especially when you're passionate and subjective to your craft and you take things personally. There were days when I wouldn't book something more than the days I booked. And I remember like my mom would hear me cry on the phone, like, this is horrible. And I was so close, or blah, blah, blah. And she was like, Gabrielle, do you want to come home? And I was like, no, I just need to cry about it. And then I'm just going to try again tomorrow.
mhm, right.
And then get your ass in class, like keep learning and keep studying. And I remember doing some background work for some television stuff in New York right when I got there, and just soak it up, be a sponge, a fly on the wall. And
Mhm,
how I made it was honestly, most of it is showing up and then coming back and being able to afford to live there.
mhm,
And don't get that twisted that, you know, we're supposed to be starving artists. We're just supposed to be hustling artists. And that comes with show business, not show begging. And once someone told me that, I hope whoever listens to that
Mm.
hears that, like it's a business and you've got to invest in yourself and you got to save your money and you got to take care of your instrument and there's maintenance and then there's time to take breaks.
Yeah, I love that. You'd said something about, that you get more no days than yes days. And and I know you've done a lot of voice work as well. And I've done a
Yes.
bunch over the years myself. And when I got let go, I used to do the afternoon show in Vancouver at a rock station. And
Mm-hmm.
I worked there for about 15 years, ending about 12 years as the afternoon host. And when I got let go in 2014, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go into voice work. And I got some really cool parts, but I got so many no's that it eventually pushed me out the door because I was like, I need to feed my family. I had two kids. And by the way, I want to talk
Yeah.
about, you're a brand new mom as well. So I want to talk about that. But it kind of pushed me out the door. And so how did you
I
get into it?
am.
You are, yeah, you're a brand new mom. So yeah, well, let's talk about that. I think her name was Mercedes, I think I read.
Her name is Mercedes. She's a year and a half, and
And
she is
so, like,
so
how
much
good is
fun.
that? It's beyond what you thought how cool it would be, right?
It really is. It really is.
Oh,
And
good.
also she's kind of an easy baby, Todd. I'm going to
Uh,
say that.
I had a
We're
pretty easy baby the first one too.
yeah, and so she's encouraging to want more.
Yeah.
And
No, I was just gonna say, don't be thinking the next one because my
I know.
second is just like screw horns right away.
Both my husband and I, we like to brag that we were silent rebels in our young adulthood. So I think that's where we're going to get our payback.
Yeah,
And it's wonderful. I had a pandemic pregnancy, so that was very lonely. And I was unable to have like all of those accolades that you're used to. And, Philip
sure.
couldn't come to ultrasounds and we could FaceTime him in. So, like, there were some moments of just waiting just for basic good results. And that's what mattered, to not be overwhelmed with the things you couldn't have, right?
Right.
We also had a miscarriage in 2019 that
Mm,
really put my really shifted my perspective on it's okay to slow down. So I kind of had I had like a prelude to the pandemic when everyone learned it's okay to stop,
sure.
just stop the grind. Everyone had a chance to think. So I had a prelude to that, and once we didn't turn into zombies, I basically said, like, after 6 months of the pandemic, like, okay, we're not, the world's really not gonna shut down like all the movies.
We'll be okay.
Let's start trying again. And so when she was born in 2021, well, yeah, when 2021, Philip was able to be there. There was vaccinations happening, and the stress of getting us into some social circle that we felt safe, but then also, I don't know how you feel when it comes to parenting, because the risks of the new world of, post pandemic is really everyone's decision, everyone's personal family decision. And
Sure.
once I got a therapist and had some consultations with our pediatrician to like, hey, go to the go to Virginia or Pennsylvania where your family is for the holidays, and she's going to get a cold, and it's okay. She kind of needs a cold. She
Y-
needs to build an immune system,
Yeah, can't
and
keep
all
them in a
those things.
bubble.
Right. And we were just starving for social interaction and
Sure.
family interaction because we didn't get it while we were pregnant. And that has been like a really wonderful life change for me to I've never valued family so deeply because my parents were so supportive for my sister and me to pursue out of Texas.
Mm,
My sister's works in DC. I was in New York, now in LA, big cities, and we weren't coming back. We weren't coming back to Texas. And I with the pandemic and then getting pregnant, I just needed to be near family. And I want her to know her grandparents. Thank God for FaceTime. But when we go across the country uh, for a holiday or for a birthday, we make time to be there. And I didn't do that in my younger years in my career. I would only be there for like 3 days, 4 days. or
Mhm.
work would, keep me away from the holidays. And it was fine because they were supportive. I would get emotional for a minute, when, it's Christmas Eve, but it's different now. It's really
Oh yeah.
different now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a 12 and 10-year-old now, and
Oh, wow.
I know everybody tells you this, but like it goes by so fast. It's insane how fast it goes.
It does.
it
It
really,
does.
and I try not to ever say that to anybody because I've heard it so much, as I was a, brand new dad and stuff, but it's like, holy shit, they were all right. They
I
were all
know.
bang on how fast it goes. Like
I know.
I got a 5'8", you know, kid. It's like, dude, you're so tall. How did that happen?
Mercedes is going to be a very tall person.
Yeah, yeah,
My husband's tall. My mother-in-law's family is even taller, and she is all that side. Like she's all still 90th percentiles of everything.
yeah. Yeah, same for my kids all the way through. I mean, I'm 6'2". My wife's almost 6 feet, so we'll have some big kids.
Oh, tall
Yeah,
kids. I'm not.
yeah.
I'm pretty average. I'm only 5'5", and
Okay.
but all the Pisantians, that's my married name, they are
Yeah.
just super tall people. So I willed it correctly with her nursery theme to be giraffe.
Nice. Okay, so the for the voice work, uh,
Yeah.
you're doing stuff with the Star Trek. You're doing stuff with the
Oh,
Spidey.
what a dream come true.
How crazy is
What
that?
two
Like,
universes to be a part of?
I know, right? What your career is nuts. And like, what, do you not like downtime or?
I had a lot of downtime, Todd. There's a lot. I'm just so glad it looks like I'm busy. It's great.
Oh yeah, it
That's a
looks
good
like you're.
publicist. No, I'm kidding. That's
It
some good
looks like
social
you're
media plugging right there.
going crazy. So taking these roles in, I got a couple of questions. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Trek all the way. No question.
Okay.
Come at
Okay.
me.
Interesting. I've probably asked that of like, I don't know, 1,000 people in the last 10 years, and it's probably 20% maybe Star Trek. And I
Oh
love Star
yeah.
Trek. It's but like
No,
right
no.
below
We're
Star Wars.
okay with being the minority too. We're strong.
Oh, yeah.
We're small and mighty.
Yes, you are, and you're all chirpy about it as well. And
I don't understand Star Wars. I don't get it. The movies are too
really,
long.
though, the first three, though, come on, those are classic movies. Classic. We're fighting.
Pass.
We're fighting now.
Pass.
I see. We're starting to fight now. And then so taking Spidey, a role in Spidey. So does that mean you're like a true fan
Yeah.
of the comic world? Like you're into all
I've
the new
always
Iron Man and
I've
Batman,
always
Superman and
yeah,
X Men.
I loved X-Men as a kid, the comics specifically, like the
Yeah,
actual comments,
same.
comics,
Yeah,
and I've always loved all the new renditions of Spider-Man, and I get to play Rio, which is
Morales. Yeah.
yeah, the that that universe of Spider-Man,
Yep.
and it's a kids show, so it's a show that Mercedes can grow into and all my nieces and nephews can listen and watch. And
And then all their little brains go.
I know, and my
That's
sister listens.
Auntie. That's Mom. What
I
the
know
hell?
my sister's like, I can't imagine that being Spider-Man's mom because it's just you. And I'm like, I know it is
Yeah.
me, but
Yeah. Crazy.
but yeah, they're very good to me there over at Disney with that show. And the Star Trek win was so big for me. I mean, I used to watch Star Trek with my mom, falling
Yeah.
asleep, and I play a Vulcan, so Spock is, that's Spock, you know, um species. They're so prestigious. And Star Trek Lower Decks specifically in the Trek world is a comedy, which is not very done at all. It's very
Mhm.
dramatic on in that universe. So Mike McMahon, from Rick and Morty, was able to take on the nerdiness and love for this world and give it back to the fans as a gift. So there's just fun jokes and little golden eggs, and they bring back like um Captain Riker, and as an animated cartoon, and they bring back the actors that played those roles years ago to be themselves. And so, like, it's just a fun reunion over and over and over. And the fact that Talin, my character, had some pivotal moments just as like a guest star. It's just been released and revealed in the last season that she is now on the Cerritos, on the USS Cerritos, as she's now working for for Starfleet, and I'm excited for the fans to see what happens to her and how she blends with the lower deck crew.
A cool life you live, hey?
It is. I'm very grateful.
Great.
I'm very,
Oh,
very
oh yeah, it's
grateful.
it's awesome. Like reading through your bio and you're off the top, you're like, oh, thank you so much for like how could you have a podcast and not want to talk to somebody that has a life like you? Like honestly.
Thank you. It's been so fun.
So which superpower would you want to have then?
Fly.
Yeah, boat speed.
I just fly. Like they'd be able to like fly around and see things. It's so cool. I think that'd be
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah. Okay, so outside of acting and I guess music now and everything you're known for, how's your sporting game? Are you a big fan of sports? Do you watch sports? Do you play sports?
I love this turn of conversation. I don't watch sports a lot anymore. Funny enough,
Hmm,
I love football. I'm from Texas. My
yeah,
sisters
of course.
went to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Despite all the games we lost, we were very proud. Giga Mags. But my husband, any guy I dated before my husband was more of a sports guy. I even dated a French Canadian who loved hockey, and I loved watching it. I loved being obnoxious at the game.
Of
But
course.
whenever a Super Bowl happens, we'll go and cheer on who we're supposed to cheer on, and I'm as obnoxious as it gets and into it. I'm invested.
Yeah.
But do I watch ESPN? No. Um, with Philip, my husband, he's more of a car guy.
Oh.
And so I watch a lot of car shows now.
Mm, okay.
And he's a video game guy, and I'll watch video games. I mean, we met on match.com, and I had it in my bio saying I watch video games. Yes, I do exist. Like I'll watch and I will comment, I will be in it, I will stay up with you and just be like it's almost like its own movie and like support, but when it comes to playing, I am terrible at playing video games.
Mm, mm.
So
What
yeah, I
else?
would say I'm sporty though, because I was like a catcher in softball in high school, and
Okay.
I was like MVP Ruiz in elementary school basketball at at the Boys and Girls Club. So I love sports.
Yeah. And so you'd mentioned your binging stuff. What else have you been watching? Like
The
you're a content creator, of course. We all love the stuff that you do. But
I,
what do you find that you're kind of binging through right now?
I just finished The Golden Girls.
No way, like the Golden Girls, like the
Thank
back.
you for being a friend. Oh yeah. I had out on the Lanai podcast on What Are Friends For podcast, which is my podcast, WAF.
Right, should bring that up to
And
you.
they are super it's a super fan love sesh of all and everything Golden Girls. And so we talked about some of the we had some friendship conversations based around it, and I thought to myself, I was like, I should commit to a sitcom. I've been close as an actor close to a few sitcoms myself, and so I love watching the formulas of different sitcoms. It's a good scene study.
Sure.
And I was trying to watch Friends, Todd, and it's so boring and it's so annoying. Come at me.
Mm,
I
mm.
don't like it. I try now as an adult, maybe because I lived in New York and I'm in my 20s. Diversity lacks in the show because it's it's now dated and it's time.
Oh, for sure.
It was great of its time,
Yep.
and but now I just couldn't get on board. And so I don't know, maybe it's because it's old ladies, maybe because I'm feeling older now, I don't know, but the comedy, the spice, the sass, and also like the scandalous writing that
Sure.
they got away with in the 90s was top notch. And their
Sure.
timing, Betty White, get out of here. Like it was just like so much fun. I would binge that while I was like cleaning the kitchen or just alone with Mercedes, and it was always entertaining and at the same time really fun scene study.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of older series that would just never make it today. Like think of The Office. Think of Michael at The Office.
I know. It's so true.
Imagine if they were trying to pass that show off today. Not a chance. 0%. Never happened. Gabrielle, I'm gonna respect your timer. I'm gonna ask two quick questions and then we'll wrap it up. You're on pause, by the way. You're totally paused on my screen here. If you're still there, tell us a near death story, like where you're like, holy crap, I could have just died now. She's done. Because we could see if she jumps on again. I do want to get these questions. We only got 5:45. I only got the 40-minute. I don't get the full I don't get the full Zoom thing. I don't pay for it. But I think that's gonna be it. Which is fine. But a great she did jump on. Nice. Oh, that's funny. All right. Gabrielle, you there? There she is.
Did you get to upload the other
I,
stuff?
I freaking love that you jump back on again.
No worries.
Yes.
Did you get to upload? Okay, good.
Yeah.
The last thing we heard was The Office.
Yes. So I was just saying, imagine that. And then I said, okay, all right, I'm going to respect your time and I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I don't buy the Zoom account, so I only have like 5 minutes with you still. But
Perfect.
I want to ask cheap. I want to ask like two more questions. We'll wrap it up. So the question I'd asked when we got dropped, and this is funny because it's going to play out like this when I post it online. Me going like, hopefully she comes on again, and then you do. Um, hit us with a near death story where you're like, holy fuck, I could have just died.
I could have just died. Oh, like really die? Like die?
Like die. I almost got hit by a
Or
train as a kid.
like my hand could have died. Oh wow. Hit by I almost died. I'm like, when did I almost die? Um,
It would be screaming at you if you had one.
oh, okay. So, college, my dance school had some program affiliated with the Taiwan Police College. Don't ask me why, but we went to Taiwan, Taipei, Taiwan, and had like we did like a dance show there, and we did like cultural exchange classes. It was so cool and so fun. When we were doing some tours, we were like on an actual bus, like a long bus, and we went up to some museum that was on top of a mountain. And I think the bus driver went the wrong way up the mountain
Good,
and
yeah.
had to like 3-point turn on the mountain.
My God.
And I got so scared that I just had to close my eyes and just basically ostrich myself into the ground. Like I just closed my eyes and put my head on my lap because I was like, I mean, I felt like the clouds. We were on level, like, we were at the same level with clouds, and
Wow.
3-point turned the bus, and nothing slipped, nothing,
Yeah.
got in any way rocky, but they brought the translator. The translator took the risk and like, sacrificed himself and like put himself at the edge of the mountain to like tell him how far he could back up
Oh
to
my
3-point turn in Taiwan, and we didn't die.
Good. This is a good thing. Yeah,
I remember that was pretty
could have been
scary.
dicey.
It could have been dicey.
And the last thing I want to ask you is, can you pick one career highlight, or is that just like impossible?
Oh no, I can. There recently, like in 2019, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend went on tour. Rachel Bloom, the creator
Yeah.
of the show, wanted to take the show on the road and do the music for the fans. And one of the stops was Radio City in New York. And we did two shows. We had two nights. And she was just kind of like, talking to the Broadway people of Crazy Ex, saying like, is there any friends that we can bring on of yours? And she asked me if I could ask Lin-Manuel Miranda to come and guest with me. And I said, if I ask him, he's doing a number with me. And
Yeah.
because I would love, because I mean, he gave me my Broadway debut. He referred me to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I owe the man a lot of honor and recognition for my career path.
Yeah.
And he's also a very good friend of mine and always will be. And I was adamant on that because I wanted to have that memory and that experience of introducing Lin Manuel Miranda onto the stage. And when I did, Todd, the vibration of cheers, I will never forget. Like I put my hands up in the air and I just like I felt the wave come on. And he
Wow.
walks on stage just like Lin is, with his beautiful smile and his sneakers and his denim jeans and like a suit jacket. And I sang Women Got to Stick Together. And we walked around and like, paraded around through the audience like I've done with the number, but he went with me and we salsa'd off the stage. And he was just so generous to not only say yes, but to have fun. And I'll never forget that rush, that tidal wave of screams, because it was a surprise guest. And the way people screamed for him, I got to be a part of that. I can always savor
Nice.
that moment.
I, I love hearing about people's highlights like that. It's so cool, right? Gabrielle, I have to run, unfortunately. I would love to talk to you more. You're such a cool personality to talk to,
Thank
and what a
you.
crushing career. And thank you again for joining us here in Vancouver on the Toddcast. And we'll tag you when we're chucking the stuff around online. And I guess
Perfect.
we'll see you online as well.